then you get a prize. All right, no, you can't shout out so. So I have one person over there, one here. So come on. Stand up, Miss Leslie Ann. No, go on. No, I'm here. Do the sounds. Go on. Just. All right. Wait, hold on. I'm not say you're right yet. Hold on. Somebody else over here? Okay. All right. No. All right. So guess what? We have two people who kind of got it right. So one gift for Leslie Ann and another gift for Shade over here. Shade, I soon give you a gift to here. But guess what? Because we want to move along, I want to move quickly through these proceedings. We have some exciting presenters for you. And in order to introduce our first presenter, I'm going to hand the microphone to our lovely member, Miss Lorraine Younger, a former Sagicor multi-million-dollar thing. You know how these things go, round table person, who's going to introduce our first speaker for the evening.
Good evening. Good night. Them just feeding, you know. Oh my God. Anyway, Stacy Gooden, Manager, Wellness and Client Engagement at Sagicor Life. Behavior Change Communication Specialist, artist, writer, mom. Stacy has over 20 years experience in the financial sector with a brief sojourn into the world of international relations government. Born in the parish of St. Elizabeth and an unapologetic Hamptonian, Miss. She went to Hampton. Stacy has an undying love for the Breakfast Parish. She has also lived in the USA and Germany and traveled widely. Her job as wellness and client engagement manager allows her to spend time implementing measures to help thousands of clients choose the path to wellness. She is dedicated to strategizing on how to improve awareness and provide tools that can be easily used to realize long-term behavioral change. Stacy is a lover of knowledge and also loves to share information, hence why she's here. In her spare time, she can be found creating art, reading, or writing. Most recently, she has been developing her paper match sculpture technique. Welcome, Stacy Ann. Let us give a warm UCT welcome to Stacy.
Hi, good evening. Yes, my mic is working. Thank you so much for inviting me. I'm very happy to be here. I was told I have 15 minutes, so I am going to be very brief, but I'm hoping that I will be able to touch on a few points that will be more food for thought. I don't think we're going to get into the nitty-gritty of anything this evening, but I'll be able to stimulate some thought in some areas. So this evening, I will primarily be speaking to you on financial wellness, but I'm going to be speaking about financial wellness as it ties into your relational week. So I want to touch on that and how this subject will impact us and our relationships. All right, so first of all, I noticed too that your Adventures in Faith themes seem to also tie in to the dimensions of wellness. That may have been coincidental, but wellness is multidimensional, and so all of those various themes that you have been looking at so far are also areas of wellness. So what is wellness? I'm just going to give you this little overview to kind of put my talk in some kind of perspective and hope that it will have the impact that I intend. So wellness is an active pursuit, and I want us to remember that part of it because it's going to come back to us. Everything that I'm going to say is about how we center what we do and how we plan on ourselves and be intentional about that. So it's an active pursuit with intentions and choices towards getting to an optimal state. Now, as I indicated, wellness is multidimensional, and at Sagicor, in the work that I do, we primarily focus on physical, mental, and financial wellness. And so this evening, we're going to be focusing on the financial. And what does this have to do with relationships? How does your relationship with money impact your life? And so the question that I had for this topic is, do you attract or repel it? Because of course, everything that we do has a direct relationship with what happens to us, right? So the first thing that I want to look at is the mind and the critical importance of belief in what we set out to do. There's this term that I use a lot in my talks to our groups about self-efficacy. It's a psychological term, but it simply means belief in oneself. So we all are here, and we're all on our various journeys, and that's something that we also need to acknowledge. It's not a one-size-fits-all. We all have our different journeys, and even if you're part of a couple, you are not the same person. We like to talk about we complete each other. It's very important while we're on this journey of life that we acknowledge our need to complete ourselves. Because when you come as a whole person, then you're able to better balance off the other person, you're able to make better choices, and ultimately it helps in your relationship. And as someone who has been married twice, I can speak about that quite confidently because I have learned the lessons. And you know, I can say that with ease now because I've forgiven myself. I've recognized what led to certain decisions that I would have made in the past, and I encourage you to get to that point of self-acceptance, identify how you may have been led to certain decisions that you would have made, and accept that you're a growing, evolving being. Love yourself, right? And so building financial wellness starts in the mind. First of all, you need to decide that you deserve it. Yeah? Money is not your enemy. Money is not evil. Having the ability to purchase things, to transact, to make sure that you have a good life is a good thing. Yes. Because when you have money, you can help other people. You can spread the love, yes? If you don't have money, then you can't do that. And of course, there's a cyclical effect to everything that can help you with that. So love and money versus love of money. That's a big distinction that we need to make, yeah? Because when you love the money versus love, then that's where you have the challenge. And so once you come to this thing and leave the ego behind, then you're able to attract and manage the money, right? And so having rooted that in and building that foundation of love of self and understanding where you're coming from, then you're able to move forward with a better foundation. And I'm just sharing this little data that I have about marriages, money and marriages. Forbes, in just October of this year, shared this recent data on the top 3 reasons for marriages to break down. And 38% of persons said finances was a contributing factor. The only other 2 higher stats were, they said that the partner was too young, that's 45%, and 58% said arguing and conflict. And I'm pretty sure some of that had to do with money as well, because it always spills over. And so we can't, even when you're on the faith-based path, acknowledge that the impact of having money is important. And so financial wellness is critical because it does have a lot of impact on some other areas. So there's a very direct correlation with financial wellness and stress. To put it colloquially, when you don't have no money, then you broke your stress. And when you stress, it causes a whole cycle of things. Because of course, when you're in the state of lack, for a lot of persons, it entrenches you into the cycle where you're on this wheel that you find no way to hop off. So you have this feeling of lack. And because you're in this state of lack, then you fall into despair. And when you're in this state of despair, you have no clarity. And so therefore, you're not able to innovate. And if you're unable to innovate, then you're unable to think out ways to get out of it. And then when it's two of you in it, and you're looking upon him and say, you know, man, why you can't provide? And him looking at you, but you're not supposed to bright. And then, of course, the quarrels start and all of that. And, you know, especially when you don't talk about it. That was a challenge with my first marriage. I was savvy with money. My husband, who made more money than I did, was not. But he was a spender. And so, of course, that's problems. Because you're not talking, you're running into problems. It's creating resentment, and oh, Lord, could I be resentful? And, you know, you don't speak about it, you don't bring it into the open, you don't discuss it. And so it stays and it festers. And especially when you're young and don't know how to handle, you know, these kinds of challenges, the ego gets in the way. And you just put on your foot and say, enough for you. And then don't spend enough time trying to work through. And so it's important that we self-reflect first of all and assess, because the other person is not always 100% wrong. You have some responsibilities too. Yes? And so when you reflect and you recognize what is the role that I am playing in this, and then on your journey with God, Spirit, universe, you recognize that you do need to sometimes stop and listen. And so I say, you know, having faith is one thing, and even though, you know, you may say, oh, money is not important. Faith without works is dead, is what I'd say. Well, what not I say, it's what the word says. And so when you stop and listen, more often than not, the teacher will appear. So when the student is ready, the teacher appears. And so you stop and pause. And so my advice is to, well, first of all, you need to always have a why. Why are you doing what you are doing? Why do I need to get from point A to point B? And I found that once you have love in that why, you typically will get to a good decision. My recommendation is that you start first with planning. And by planning, the first thing you do is write it down. Yeah? When you put things in black and white, then it really helps to make things more substantial, make things more, you know, meaty. And of course, your goals and aspirations tend to just take life more when you just write it down and make it firm. You prepare as best as you can. How can I move from point A to point B? And very critically, seek help. Even though you may feel like you know everything, sometimes just bouncing something off somebody, you know, and thinking I know the solution, but I call Barbara and say, Barbara, you know, I'm thinking, so what do you think? And even though I may be on the right track, she may be able to say, add something to it, you know. What do you think? I'll add this little thing to it, add some value. And so expand beyond that and then seek help. And which is why we have advisors, which is why we have persons who are skilled in the various areas, which is why you have counselors, you have therapists, you have pastors, you have persons in the church in the different areas, you know. Above all, and this is a guide that we use in our wellness program at Sagicor, our tagline actually is do it for yourself. Because we recognize that once you're able to put yourself at the center, meaning look inwardly, identify what the challenges are, and then move outwardly from there, then more than likely than not, you know, like when you're on the airplane and the oxygen mask, they say put on your oxygen mask first. When you put yourself in a position of wellness, and incidentally, one of the things I should have said to you at the beginning, one of the reasons that we have this wellness program is because over 70% of deaths currently in Jamaica are attributable to lifestyle illnesses. And so we find that we're in this position to really help. Reach out to our hundreds of thousands of clients to kind of just remind you of the situation. And financial wellness is an important part of that because of the very reasons I stated before. You need money. And if you're ill, you're going to need money to make you well and to prevent all of the stress. And so within the parameters of a talk for this evening about promoting financial wellness, I want to highlight 3 top areas that, for me, in my experience, if you have a good grasp of these, or if you get the good advisors to help you in these areas, then you are more likely to be on your way to a good financial wellness footing. And so the 3 areas we're going to touch briefly on, because I'm cognizant that I don't have a lot of time: investments and real estate, insurance, and credit cards. Now, the first one, investments and real estate. Now, especially for the young ones just starting out, it is important that you start investing small. Never say that you can't start because you don't have no big lump sum and not making a bag of money. Start putting away a little bit at a time. Over time, you will be able to accumulate a nest egg, and the compound effect of investment, when it rolls over and the interest goes on and you roll it again and it adds on, then you'll be able to start investing in other things like real estate. Start by buying that small 1-bedroom or studio. Don't say it's not big enough, because things have, improved so much over there. And in Jamaica, just a couple of years ago, we were the top stock market. Now our real estate prices are going through the roof. If you bought a little piece of land anywhere in this country in the last 3 to 5 years, I guarantee you the price is almost double now. Don't wait. Go for it. So start small and continuously reinvest. It's something that you keep going, you keep doing. And as much as you work on your relationships, you also work on that little much that you're putting aside to help build your little nest egg. Insurance. Now, and not just because of where I work, I can't overemphasize the importance of this one. So I've segmented this section into 3 areas that we'll look at quickly. You need insurance for now, you need insurance for later, and you need insurance for them being your loved one. For now, you need health insurance. The idea is that ultimately we want us all to be well, that we don't get sick. But if the data is telling us that over 70% of us are dying because of lifestyle illnesses, it means that 7 out of 10 persons generally, including in this room, will have some lifestyle illness, right? And so it means that we need to care for ourselves. And if we need to care for ourselves now, one of the best ways to be able to afford to do that is to have health insurance. So you pay a small amount monthly, and then when something happens to you or you need to buy your medication, then you have that to fall back on. There are a multitude of plans. You can get plans with your employer, you can get plans with your church groups. There are other plans that you can join with other persons to get a great rate. Critical illness, the cancer rates are spiraling out of control. Cover yourself. I've had several family members go over the last few years. It is expensive. And persons are getting it younger and younger. So I advise you, get your critical illness plan. My sister, who is younger than me, lost her husband 2 years ago. Right? It was not cheap. When you pay a small amount each month and you get that coverage, it's peace of mind. And ultimately, remember, if it doesn't happen, and we pray it doesn't happen, then you'll be able to get back your money. And depending on what kind of plan you bought, there may be some bonuses involved, etc. So cover yourself. Your money is not going down the drain. It is there, and when the time comes, you can pull it. Some of the plans have an investment portion as well that you can pull in the event of anything. I'm not selling to you this evening. I'm just telling you what you need to do. And if you have somebody, so here's now the for them now, the life insurance, and also if you care about the people in your family, you want to make sure that should the worst happen, you have some cushion, right? Insurance is one of the best and easiest ways to create intergenerational wealth. Let me say that again. It's one of the easiest ways, because the earlier you start, and you start with a small premium, you can ensure if you were born in poverty and you grew up, and you can leave something for those that are behind, right? I've known persons who have been able to pay off their mortgages, you've been able to buy houses, you've been able to pay for your children's university education because of insurance. So don't allow that to pass you up. Take advantage of these little. And I say little because, I mean, for some people it's going to be a lot, especially initially. But over time, once you get into the habit of making sure that your finances are healthy, and remember, you don't have to do this alone. Ask for advice and use your discernment. God has given you that spirit, and when you feel it in your belly, you know what is right. Yeah? So talk, seek out help. And if you're not so sure, just seek help with somebody else and ask somebody else. Do not be afraid to advocate for yourself. It's one of the things that I preach to my groups all the time. It's what I say, one of the main reasons why I love doing what I do, because I teach people how to talk up for themselves, how to ask the right questions, and how to make sure that you're getting value. I have a program that we talk about medication therapy management, where we teach our clients what to ask the doctor, what to ask the pharmacist, to make sure that you're getting value for your money, and make sure that at the end of the day, you're getting the results that you need. So ask all the questions and make sure that you are getting value. Credit cards. Now, this one is passionate for me. How many of you in here think credit card is a bad thing? You? All right, if you think credit card is a bad thing, it's because you have not taken the time to understand how to manage credit cards. I can tell you I have not paid any interest in years. As a matter of fact, every quarter, a credit card company gives me a nice fat credit on my card, because I have a rewards card and I make sure I use my credit card at the supermarket. I use it to buy gas, I use it to travel, I use it to buy everything, right? Now, there are several key things to bear in mind with a credit card. You have some standard fees, like your annual fee, that most persons won't get around, but there are sometimes you can get offers you can pay no annual fee. Make sure you know your statement date. When is this bill due? What is the statement balance? And I guarantee you, if you can pay your bills in cash each month, you can afford to have a credit card. The money that you are using with cash to pay for it, you put it on the card and you spend it. You know that when you pay the card today, in some of the banks the same day, you get the value back same day. So if you have a $50,000 card and you use 30 and you pay back 20, you have that 20 to spend again tomorrow. And what you do is you keep on cycling it. So if you pay your light bill, your water bill, groceries, most of the gas, most of these cards pay between 1% and 3% rewards. Calculate that, how much money the bank would give you back. Now, the thing you need to remember is pay your statement balance. Not the total amount you use up in it. There's a statement balance. So there's a cutoff date each month for the statement date. Know what that date is and know what your due date is. When is this bill due? And if you pay that statement in full by the due date, remember, when you pay it today, you can use it back tomorrow. So your money is not being tied up, yes? So as long as you pay it in full, and if you pay it in parts, that's okay too. If the bill said $35,000 and you pay 17 this week and 17 next week, as long as the total is paid before the due date, you have fulfilled your obligation and the bank can charge you zero. Nothing. And then whatever your reward is, your reward percentage is, however your bank does it, whether you need to apply for the amount or they automatically put it on it, that percentage automatically goes back. And I guarantee you, if you use it to buy your groceries and your gas, you will earn more than your annual fee. So you will be in the green at the end of the year. So the bank would have been paying you. The other good thing about a credit card is that you get an itemized statement each month. So you know where you have been spending the money. Whereas when you use the cash, it's like, all that money done already. What am I do with it? I don't know where you spend the money upon. Life? It's not life. But when you see the credit card statement and you see it say Amazon, 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 Amazon. Who guilty? Okay. Then you say, I need to pull this habit up. And you're able to see, so the evidence, again, the importance of writing things down. It is there in the black and white for you to see. And so you're able to pull yourself back, on track. And so you use it as a management tool, and then use it as a financing tool. So you spend ahead. Remember, you get up to 55 days before the bill becomes due each month. Well, that's more than a month, actually. So when you spend now, depending on where in the cycle you spend, and I am expert at managing it. I used to have a blog on credit card management. I pulled it down now. So any of you who need any special help, I can help you in that area. Depending on how you time it, you can spend and you don't have to pay back for almost 2 months. Not $1 in interest to the bank. I can guarantee you that because the bank stands on its word. All right? Just know how to do it. So I'm just telling you, these are just a few of the things that you can do. And I'm mindful of time, and I'll be happy to come back and get into details in any of these that you want me to, because this evening we're really just touching on the things, because ultimately we want to get to the place where we're whole, all these various of wellness, adventures in the various things. We're whole and we're on the path. We're all on the path. And remember, it's not linear. I am so on the path too, despite what I am but guess what? You get to the point where you learn to love yourself so much that you know that you have to forgive yourself every time, and you're like, I am going back on the path and I'm getting back at it again, and I am going to get there. So talk to each other. And of course, what I should also say is if you're not in a coupled situation where you're single, the time to focus on loving yourself is now. You don't have to be a part of a couple to do any of this, because it's critical for you to get to that point of wholeness before you get into that couple situation. A lot of us, myself included, made that mistake. You didn't spend enough time to understand yourself and love up yourself enough. Yeah? But when you get to the place where you can look yourself in the mirror every morning and say, you look good, I love you, see? And then you know that you deserve all the good things. You try to find all the ways to make sure that you get to that place of wholeness and wellness. And you know you're going to have your down days. You know that there are going to be times where you fall off the wagon. You're not going to eat so good today. Your exercise not be up par. You're going to be struggling, especially over 40 and the perimenopause are kicking and you're miserable and you're angry. You have to gain weight for no reason. Yes, all of those things. But you forgive yourself and you put things in place and you move on. So talk to yourself. Talk to your partners, make your plans, write it down, prepare, and above all, seek help. And lastly, I want to remind you, first of all, do it for yourself, and then, of course, do it for your loved ones. So I just want to thank you for having me. I hope I didn't go over too much. Thank you for having me here this evening. It's been wonderful. I love the spirit and the vibes. Barbara's been inviting me for a while, and I just made it here. So thank you. My Instagram handle is up on my Sagicor email, but there's also a jot form that I think will be shared with you if you really want any additional information on any product. Then I'll pair you with the right person. I don't do sales myself, but I will find the right person for you to talk to you about what it is you need to talk about. And if there's any particular solution that you need, then I will find it for you. Within the wellness program, we do have monthly webinars on a variety of topics. And of course, we are looking to see how to improve the program. So as this happens, I'll be happy to also share with you. You're seeing the screen? Oh, that was one of my oh no, you're not seeing the thing. One of my first paper mache pieces I did a couple of years ago. I've been spending time doing the sculpture. So thank you very much for having me, and let me come off of the stage because I know you have other things to do and the people are managing the time properly. So thank you so much for having me. Oh, should I give away some things? Not true.
Yes, but hold on, I'm going to ask you. Hey, Thank you. But thank you so much. And I know you have some gifts for us.
Yes.
And I know persons have burning questions. But here what I'm going to do, because we do have other guests who are waiting online for us.
One, two.
Okay, yes. Sounds good now. So we do have persons online, and I don't know where it's the time. Yes, time runs by when you're having so much fun. I want to invite you back, and I'm taking it upon myself to invite you back. We have Financial Week coming up, and I'd love to invite you back to give us a more fulsome presentation, because this was supposed to be in the context of relationships, and we're glad for the insights. I know you have questions. I'm going to take one question from each section, just so we can move things along, pretty quickly. And then I'm going to give her the opportunity to give away some gifts, and then we will give you a gift for having come to grace us with your presence. Question over here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, gone. Question in here. In the center, no questions? Question on this side of the room? None?
Well,
she did it so well.
I'll take it.
So let us give her a really, really great round of applause. And I'm going to invite the co-leader of the Relational team leader, Mr. Sean Beckford, a banker himself.
Co-leader, good evening. Hi, Stacy.
Hello, Sean.
On behalf of the Relational team and the UCT family, we are extending our gratitude to you and giving you this gift as a small token of our appreciation.
Thank you very much.
So we are giving thanks for all the insightful and very interesting information you have imparted to us. I know that we are not seeing money as the enemy, certainly not, and we are embracing everything that you have shared with us. Always remembering to stick with the why and to ensure that love is in it.
Yes.
So we thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And just because we thought our, introducer, or, Lorraine did such a wonderful job. Lorraine, and you were here this Sunday, so we're giving you a gift. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. How did you want to give away your gifts?
You want to ask questions or you want me to? Whichever way. I have a few.
You have a few?
Just
All
a
right.
few.
So, no, you give us 2 questions.
Let me look on here. What did I say you need to center your decision making on? Before you get to love, the why. That is it, the why. So the important thing is to understand why you're doing. Yeah. So congratulations and thank you for listening.
Thank you, sorry to be late.
What were the 3, I think I just briefly, what were the 3 areas of wellness I said that we concentrated on in our wellness program? I mentioned that there's a plethora of dimensions of wellness, but there were 3 that I focus on in my program. Well, three of the dimensions of wellness. No.
All right, next time first. No, time one.
Mental, financial, and physical.
Yes, that is correct.
So you get a prize. All right, so we will find other ways to hand out these prizes, and we are giving thanks. So if you would remain with us for our next presentation, you never know, we may have the opportunity to hand out some more prizes.
As we encourage your wellness journey,
Thank
you can.
so much. Appreciate
You're
it.
most welcome.
Thank you so much, Miss Stacy. And as I said, we're inviting you back because Financial Week is coming up, and it is just something. These are exciting things that we want to hear about. Good? Yes. All right, so hear what? We have come to the other part of our evening where we have, and they are online and waiting on Zoom, but I'm going to hand over to another moderator. But let me just introduce her because, we kind of see her in one dimension. So you've heard of her. She started her journey as, the child star kind of thing. She is in 1979, she was the first winner of the Tasty Talent competition. Yeah, you kind of hear what we're talking about. She's done background vocals for Peter Tosh. She was signed by the legendary Bob Marley himself. Yeah? Kind of get the drift of what we're talking about yet? All right? And, you know, I mean, there's so many things that she has done. She's a lady who speaks and says what she means. She says it's action, not a bag of mouth we deal with around here. Yeah? And guess what? Throughout the 90s, you know, she kind of did a whole set of stuff. She released her album, the first of many, and then she did another album in, I think it was in the 2000s, 1997, she did Nadine, and then after that, she did another one, which was really, really great, did so well on the stage. She's under new management now, and she's doing so many things. I'm cutting out enough, because I know we have time to go, but she's doing so many things, and guess what? Of all of that, she had time to do her master's degree in cultural studies. It's a big deal, you know? Big deal. And then guess what the other day? The nation looked like they're finally coming around to what we saw and have been seeing for years, and she was awarded the Order of Distinction. So it gives me great pleasure to welcome our moderator to the stage. And ma'am, you can take your seat. Let me come out of your way. And I invite, she's going to be introducing our next guest, Reverend, they're both reverends, Reverend Charles and Reverend Shakira of UTC in Miami. And when I heard our presenter before talking about Loving Me and the Loving Me Challenge, you know, they are well, Reverend Shakira is the author of the Loving Me Challenge. So, you know, I mean, this is just, you can see synchronicity. Yeah, yeah, things just work together. All right, welcome our moderator.
Good night, everyone. It's my pleasure to introduce my two guests. One wife, one husband. I was outside, and the first thing that came in my head, wife, you are the wife, wife. I was like, no. But I'm gonna pivot from here that on Sunday, I saw Reverend Charles saying your relationships are made to help you to grow and also to transform. Are they online? I'll introduce them for. Good night, Reverend Shakira, Reverend Charles. It's nice to see you. I'm going to start with ladies first, Miss Shakira Taylor, Reverend Shakira Taylor. Having overcome shame, loneliness, and low self-esteem to the light of worthiness, confidence, and empowered leader. Shakira's story qualifies her to inspire others to self-love, healing, and peace. Shakira Taylor is a licensed minister serving at the Universal Truth Center for Better Living in Miami Gardens, Florida. Shakira believes our real work on earth is to discover and to express our true selves so we can give others permission to do the same. She explains, I believe that within our habits, labels, and experiences lay the gifts we must share with the world. When we heal and own our story, we gain access to an internal power and strength that supports us in living purposefully. She's going to put herself, right? Mr. Taylor, there's no Jamaican song that talk about husband, only wife, I must say so. The Reverend Charles M. Taylor is a spiritual teacher, sought-after relationship coach, and author. He is the spiritual leader of the Universal Truth Center for Better Living, located in Miami Gardens, Florida, trained and ordained in ministry by the late Reverend Dr. Johnny Coleman. Reverend Taylor joined forces with the Reverend Dr. Mary A. Tompkin in becoming a founding member of the Universal Truth Center in 1982. A Chicago native, Reverend Taylor and his family made South Florida his home since. Nearly 2 years following the transition of Reverend Tompkin, Reverend Taylor was selected by the congregation as the second minister in the history of UCT. Throughout UCT and UFBL, Reverend Taylor is known as the man with the message. He is loved for his patient commitment to growth. Give it up for Reverend Taylor, Mr. Charles Taylor.
Thank you.
Thank you. So tonight, the title of their presentation is Relationships, Your Path to Healing and Transformation. Thank you, Reverend Shakira and Reverend Taylor.
Thank you, Nadine, for that wonderful introduction.
maybe a delay, but I just want to say thanks to you, Nadine, for being there. And I'm like touching my heart because when I hear your name or I hear action, it takes me back to a really fun time and place in my life before ministry, things I won't talk about, but I am just sitting in this moment, so appreciative of you and also saying congratulations to you.
Thank you so very much. Thank you so
You're
very
most
much.
welcome.
Okay. And good night, UCT. Greetings from the Universal Truth Center in sunny Miami, Florida. I want to send greetings and love to your minister, the Reverend Dr. Sheila McKeithen. And thank you to the team for inviting my wife and I to talk to you briefly on relationships. I know that this is your week for relational unfoldment. So we're going to just share a little bit about how relationships is our path to healing and transformation. You want to say greetings? Oh, you said your greetings already.
We're good.
All right, we're good. So when it comes to relationships, I'm reminded of Amos, the book of Amos in the Bible. Amos 3:3. I want to write that down. Amos 3:3, which states, "How can two walk together except they be in agreement?" How can two walk together except they be in agreement? So when it comes to relationships, my approach is not just to talk about intimate marriage relationships, but all types of relationships that we have, because life is about relationships. And I'm so thankful that Stacy presented a talk about your relationship with money, because that's what life is about, your relationship with everything and everybody. So my approach to relationship is that in order to have a healthy relationship with anything or anybody, it has to be based upon agreements. What is it that you agree upon? And if you establish early on what the intention and purpose of the relationship is, as Stacy mentioned earlier, what is the why? In other words, why are we doing this? I recall when Shakira and I first started dating, early on in our relationship, we had the big conversation. In other words, we had a conversation around, why are we doing this? Why are we dating? Why are we seeing each other? And eventually, why do we even want to get married? When I work with couples, that's one of the first questions I ask them. Why do you want to get married? And I tell them that, yes, I know you love each other and all that, that's great. But believe it or not, love is not enough to have a healthy, long-term, successful relationship. And so no matter what type of relationship you are in, whether it's intimate, friendship, family, work, co-workers, you have to establish early on an agreement. Why are we in this? And my overarching reason for being in any relationship is to heal and to grow. Yes, you have other reasons for being in relationships, but from a spiritual soul level, the overarching reason for being in any relationship is to heal and to grow. I view relationships as an opportunity for it to serve as a mirror to show me me. to show me where I need to wake up, grow up, show up, and release any traumas and hurts in my life. So that's how I view relationships. So early on, Shakira and I had that discussion, that conversation as to why we are in this relationship with each other. And early on, we both agreed, in addition to the fun and all that, and the entertainment and the sweetness, we both agreed that we're going to use our relationship as a platform to help us to grow and to heal and to transform. So those are my opening remarks at this time. I'm going to turn it over to my lovely wife and allow her to share part of her story.
All right. So, and you shared quite a bit, and I hope everybody's taking notes and you have a lot of questions to ask us after we're complete. But one of the things I'm reminded of just listening to your opening is to thine own self be true. To thine own self be true. And what does that mean? A lot of times we want to get into intimate relationships and we do not know who we are. We have not yet done the work of self-discovery, the work of self-acceptance, the work of self-love. But then we want to get into relationship with others and we have an expectation that others are supposed to do something for us, bring something to our lives, love us a little bit more than we love ourselves. And so my approach to relationships and even encouraging or being in that space of talking to women and whomever about relationships is to thine own self be true. Do the work of discovering who you are. Yes. Because what happens is when you step into relationship, that person can support the amplification of who you are, like bringing that out more, right? And we'll talk about that more as we talk about relationships as a mirror. Mm-hmm. But the conflicts are so easy when we do not know who we are and when we have needs that are not met and when we're still in that space of self-discovery. And I spent so many years, I'll throw it right there. Nadia talked about my book, The Loving Me Challenge. I also have a new book that just came out, Elevate and Empower. But I spent so many years, like I would say, fitting a circle into a square, just moving from relationship to relationship before getting to that place of understanding that what I was looking for was who was Shakira. And when I got to that, who is Shakira? Values and all. Who am I? What am I looking for? What is my need? What do I want to express in the world? That was when I was at the place where I was open enough to receive you in my life. And then we were able to merge ourselves together and to continue the journey. Because finding your loved one, believe it or not, even though that's the question, how do I find him? When do I find him? What's the practical step of finding him or her or whatever? And we think it's a destination. The work has just begun, right? When you find them, the work like literally just started. That's my thought.
Okay.
Go ahead.
All right. So I think I said something on Sunday and in the video I sent to churches, and that is, but I know you are in a series about happiness and being happy and so forth. But one of the things I've come to realize is that relationships are not meant to make you happy. And I know that's a shocker for a lot of people because they're looking for relationships, no matter what type it is, to make them happy. Relationships are not meant to make you happy. Relationships are meant to help you to grow and transform and heal. And when you are involved in the process of transforming and healing and growing, that the byproduct of that is happiness. But it is not the result of the relationship directly. So don't look for a person per se to make you happy. Because that means that you're looking for them to meet your expectations. and you are giving them the power. If you give them the power to make you happy, you also give them the power to make you upset or sad. So don't give your power away. Don't set the intention or the goal of you're going to make me happy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, let me say something else very radical. Don't commit to a person. What? Don't commit to a person, yeah. Here's what you want to commit to at the highest level. You want to commit to your healing, your transformation, your waking up, your showing up in life more. That is what you want to commit to. And you want to make that agreement with whomever it may be. It could be an intimate relationship, it could be a boss, it could be a friend, but you want to commit to your own personal growth and transformation. And hopefully the other person that you are involved with, to some degree, will be committed to their growth and transformation. And then that is where you will meet each other in that space of supporting each other to grow and transform. Okay, Shakira?
Yeah, that's a perfect thought, you know, and it might sound radical for some in terms of committing to yourself and committing to your growth.
Mm-hmm.
But the key is that when we step into relationships, and I guess we can go right to the conversation of mirror, the person we bring closest to us is the person that's going to rub some stuff in our life. They're going to trigger us like there's nobody's business, right? Mm-hmm. And it's in those triggers, if we are conscious, that we can shift into a space of healing. Correct. If we do the work.
Right.
So if we're committed to the work, if we're committed to transformation, if we're committed to healing, if our partner is committed to the same, mm-hmm. and we are committed together in partnership of supporting each other, then we find that we're able to walk through the triggers or move through the triggers or evolve. And sometimes I'll say crawl through the triggers that might come up in our relationship. But it's key. Mm-hmm. It's key. Yeah.
Okay. So, those are our opening remarks at this time. We want to open the floor up for any questions, clarification, so that we're not just talking heads up here.
Well, I have to ask you the question. Nadia put me here specifically, you know, because I'm so comfortable single that can you work and work? Because I've done some work. I've done forgiveness work. Because of relationships, I've done some spiritual work. My philosophy about relationships is I share the same with you, but I think I'm too woke. I'm so worked and that I'm so comfortable single I can't even see myself in a relationship right now because I'm okay with being me. So I'm wondering, sometime I'm just asking you if that's I think it's an okay space to be in, but sometimes I wonder if I'm weird because I'm not like, you know, going on like I need a man, like, oh my goodness, I want a man. Oh, I need to be completed. I'm like, I'm so wonderful.
No, you already complete. You already
complete. That's how I feel.
You don't need another person to complete you. You know, one of my pet peeves is when people come up to me and ask me, where's your better half? And I look around and say, I'm right here. I'm my own better half because I'm whole and complete. And so that's number one. Number two, remember, we're not just talking about intimate relationships. We're talking about you are in relationship with life. Life itself is relational. So whenever you encounter anyone, be it a stranger or a coworker or a friend or a relative, you are in relationship at that point in time. So don't think that you're not in a relationship because you don't have a significant other.
Yeah. And I think the question is, and I have quite a few friends like you that will say they're woke and they're doing all this work and they're doing the forgiveness and the self-love. And I agree. They're in it, you're working it, and you're doing it. Now, if there's still an inkling or a question that says, I want to be in an intimate relationship, then I think that that's something to explore further and answer the question, why?
Yeah, why?
Answer the question, why? Is it because society say you should have a partner or not have a partner? But if you are fine being single and you're fine in the space and this is the life that you're supposed to be living right now, then that is okay too. And it goes back to thine own self be true. We need to be comfortable with where we are and who we are being.
Because I am really so fine with where I am. But I wanted to ask you, as being a couple, right? Reverend Sheila alluded, which is so true, that romantic relationships are so shaped by the media and books with movies and romance.
Correct.
All of we know about Harley Quinn and Mills and Boone in here, right? All the women, and all of it about the love, you complete me, you know? And our minds are so shaped and how we approach, even with men, you know? Yeah, one of my male friends told me several years ago that he wasn't feeling the feeling and he's gonna divorce his wife. Right? And as I said before, it was from the premise of how you were socialized, how you as a couple having this challenge. I'm sure when you're a couple and you're seeing these people marrying for the reason shaped that, you know, they're marrying, I think for the wrong reason, shaped by the movies. What do you do to contradict this? How do you bring them in to, you know, a new thought perspective? What do you do to like align their minds to a different kind of thinking?
The main thing is to try to bring to their awareness what is their definition of a relationship. How do they define relationship, especially intimate relationship? What is it based upon? So the main thing is to try to bring it to their awareness. You can't convince a person, but what you can do is make them more aware of what their relationship model is based upon.
Yeah. Again, for me, it's always back to the self-discovery, right? That's how I approach even the relationship part. As you mentioned, we're so socialized and it's getting worse and worse, not just with relationship, but with beauty. What does beauty look like? With the, you know, the couple goals, like everything is what the social media or what the news or what your friends or what your community is telling you and reflecting back to you. And what I have found is that more and more people are losing the defining who they are for themselves. And being comfortable in that, to stand in who I am, no matter what is being expressed to them. And so for me, it's always back to the query, always back to the question, always back to the discovery. Who are you? What do you want? Let's drill down into that portion.
Okay, so I'm opening up the floor to anyone who have any question, I'm sure. I say I wanna go, no? Is yawning? Okay, so nobody yet? How do you negotiate? How do you have Reverend Shakira and Reverend Charles? How do you negotiate with each other? Because I hear you say that, you know, you have conversations and that them gone?
No, we're here.
Oh, yeah.
We're here.
Intentional and purposeful. Does it bring any kind of discomfort in having that? Because I'm sure, you know, it can be uncomfortable having these conversations. How do you negotiate them you know, with each other? Because we're all work in progress and some of the, you know, how do you do it? What pointers can you give us, you know, like me, when I have somebody and I'm going to be intentional, I'm putting it out there, and purposeful.
Okay. That's great. That's
There's
great.
hope.
First, I tell you, when we first got together, we had the conversations, and of course at that time we were more or less in the honeymoon phase. So it went kind of smooth during the honeymoon phase, but we hit a point, say a little bit after the first or second year, where we really couldn't stand each other almost, and we had to work through our stuff, our individual stuff, and so forth. But you get to a point where you realize that this is a person that I love and respect and want the very best for, and that they are not the enemy. We are in this to grow and support each other, and there's going to be some rough patches, yes. So what are you committed to? That's the bottom line. What are you committed to? Are you committed to the relationship and to what it offers you as far as growth and transformation? Or do you have an ulterior motive for being in this relationship? And see, because your intentions, your motives are going to surface sooner or later to help you get through those rough periods.
Yeah. I think when you answer that question about, is this your person, right? That you want to walk through life with, and you answer that, and you're committed to the growth and the evolution, then you begin to take the steps to move forward. But I want to lean back into what you just shared and kind of give some insight. When the rough patch came up for us, one, it had to deal with vulnerability. It had to deal with vulnerability, and it had to deal with being willing to be uncomfortable, to be willing to get naked. And yes, we're married. Yes, we're in a relationship, but the triggers and the things that come up that you have to deal with, you're faced with it. And for me, a lot of my upbringing or the conditioning that I had I was not that person who wanted to be vulnerable, put it that way. So I am this, tough exterior Jamaican woman who's just independent and just, I was single for a while. So, I pay my bills and I do all of this and da-da-da-da. And then here comes this man that I'm supposed to be working through. So it was kind of like this power struggle. But one of the things is moving through in a vulnerable space, being willing to get uncomfortable, right? And being comfortable with the uncomfortable and creating that space of safety. It's so important to create a space of safety for your partner,
I like
to
that
reveal and show that.
Yeah, it's really like a lot of work to get to that space of vulnerability and to know that this is a person, and just being able to be honest with a lot of your pains and your triggers.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Are there any questions? I have one more question before we start. I see a hand going up. Do you think that people pay too much attention to hot sex in a relationship? No.
Well, if that's their thing, that's number one. And if the answer is yes and no. The yes part is, if that's the only part or aspect of the relationship that they focus on, then yes, they pay too much attention, because sooner or later, the hot sex, or the intensity, or
it's gonna get chilly.
It's gonna get chilly, right.
And it goes back to the purpose of the relationship.
Right.
So if your relationship is based on entertainment, and the purpose is for entertainment, and this is what I tell my girlfriends all the while: to your own self, be true. If the relationship is about entertainment, call it what it is. It's entertainment, it's sex, have fun, do whatever you need to do. If it is beyond the entertainment, then you need to be having more serious conversations, because the hot sex entertainment is going to chill, and then you're going to be looking at each other and you're going to have to figure out that aspect of it.
So,
You know?
yeah, so if that's the agreement you have with the person, then so be it.
Yeah.
Have at it, have fun.
Be true.
You know, yeah. But if you or one of the persons want more than that, then yeah, you got a
problem. You got a problem.
Houston, we got a problem.
Thank you for that. I hope a lot of people are listening. So we have some questions here. Lorraine?
Okay, good night.
Good night.
Expectations. I really and truly, I am trying to understand what you're saying, because in a relationship, I have to have expectations. I believe that commitment and expectation goes hand in hand, because expectations is something that I actually work from. So explain to me what you mean that when you say that we should not have expectations. Because it's like an agreement, basically.
Agreement, yeah. Agreement is different than expectations. When I work with couples, for example, one of the biggest topics that I share with them is on expectations. So yes, we all have expectations. The key, though, is to become aware of what your expectations are. That's number one. For your partner to become aware of what their expectations are. Then have a conversation around your expectations. Okay, so these are my expectations when it comes to marriage. These are my expectations when it comes to finances, so on and so on down the line. These are my expectations when it comes to what a man should do, what a woman should do. So these are my expectations. What are your expectations? And then once you put that on the table, you come to a point of agreement. This is where the agreement comes in. Okay, I hear what your expectations are. You hear what my expectations are. Where can we agree around these expectations? That's what I mean by agreement. So we make an agreement. Okay, so I could agree to that. I could accept that. I can't deal with that. No, that's not. Like, for example, I'm to make it real simple. Me as a man, like in my previous marriage and dating, every woman I've been with were cooks, for example.
We're what? Yeah. Reverend Charlie, we never hear that. Please repeat.
They were cooks. They could cook.
Oh, they were cooks. Okay.
That's what I was used to. All right?
Yes.
So
we got it.
Yeah. So I come into this marriage was secured. Jamaican, I've been looking for some Jamaican food and all that. And she's not a cook.
I don't even go to the supermarket. He goes to the supermarket. He cooks.
So
makes the table.
So we had to. So my expectation of having a wife that cooks was shattered. So I had to come to the point of agreement. Okay, so she don't cook, so I'm the cook in the family now. So. That's something really simple, but
it's a big thing for some.
But it could be a big thing. So that's what I mean by yes. So that's what I mean by expectations. You have expectations, yes, but then from those expectations, what can you agree to as a couple?
Communicate the expectations.
Yeah. I'm not saying don't have expectations. But what can you agree to when it comes to those expectations?
Yeah.
Wonderful.
Good question. Thank you.
Do we give her thank you for that beautiful question.
Good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
I was married for 45 years. Wow. 45 beautiful years.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much. And what I'd like to throw in the mix of things here is the very big word, which is communication.
Yes.
I think a lot of us, the heat is on, so you get into this thing and you don't understand what it is that you, like you said, expectations. And I've always advised, and when I'm speaking to a number of other people, to say to them is that get yourself a bit of paper, list down the number, what it is that you are expecting or what you're bringing to this marriage or relationship. Have the other party do the same thing, exchange or discuss it between yourselves so you'll understand exactly what it is that I am looking for and what it is that you're looking for. So there is no misunderstanding, because I will, out of my own experience, I remember saying to my husband, well, let us decide who is going to do what. And I said, and I told him, I said, if I'm going to do the cooking, then somebody's going to do the washing. And if none of us is if you're going to come home with your newspaper and your rocking chair, and you're going to sit there and rock, then buy 2 newspapers and 2 rocking chairs. But I'm saying that to say this, that it is to understand what it is that, what are the deal breakers?
Correct.
What is it that is going to, what is it that I'm prepared to compromise in? You know, number one, and as a matter of fact, I said just write them randomly down what it is that you're expecting. Right. And then you go through and then you write what is it that is number 1, number 2, number 3, and you'd be very surprised. At the end of the day, you have a clear sheet or a template, if you want to call it that, and you will know what I am looking for, and I will know. For instance, we said to ourselves when we were getting married that we were deciding that we were going to give 51% of our time to our children and 49% to ourselves. Wow. And that sounds very selfish. But the fact of the matter is this, is that you have to find time for each other. And so often you get into a marriage, you have children, and the children become between you, and they're the bridge between you both. And when the children steps out, there's this gap, and you don't know how to fill the gap. Wow. So you have to continue. And as I just this week, and I'm going to close out very shortly, just this week I said to somebody who was telling me that, I said, what do you do for fun? And the gentleman said, I go to work and I watch my equipment work, and that is my fun. And I said to him, what did you do when you were courting? And he said, I used to take my wife from junkyard to junkyard looking for metal or whatever it is that they were looking for. And he said, I'm not happy. I have everything I want, but I'm not happy. And I don't know how to be happy. So you have to have an understanding every now and then. And for the young people inside here, and our young married people, or not even the young ones, every now and then you have to take yourself away from the house, just you alone, just to rediscover each other.
True.
All right.
I'm curious. He said he watches the machine at work, and that's his joy. But he must be an unhappy man. I mean, that's what is your joy, and you take your wife to junkyard, and that's joy.
Well, you will understand.
My Lord.
You will understand that when you are in love and in a situation, you go wherever the man wants you to go.
But a junkyard? That's, I'm sorry.
Whatever is involved.
I'm only kidding. Let's take the next question.
Thank you. Well, thank you for sharing. And
thanks for sharing.
Let me say something right quick. When you're in a relationship, in a marriage, and you have children, family, or whatever, the most important relationship in that dynamic is the relationship between the husband and wife. That's number one that you should pay attention to. The children and any other thing comes second. But number one is the relationship between the husband and the wife, or between the partner and the partner. So Yeah, so let me just leave it at that and then go to the next question.
Next question, please.
Okay, good night, everyone. All right,
Good
so
night.
I'm sitting here listening and I'm saying, well, clearly I'm having a picking problem because these nice, lovely, civilized conversations that I'm hearing that's happening when you meet somebody, it's kind of alien to me because you do have the conversation, and I think I'm very straight up and forthright and want to have the conversation, but it's just deception after deception after deception. They tell you what you want to hear. So clearly, I'm having a picking problem, and my picker is off. So I think, because you see, what I'm hearing or what I'm probably seeing is that, okay, you have the same spiritual background, I would think. Maybe, well, when I'm doing my choosing, and I do ask the questions. That's the thing about me. That's why it's so hard for me to even put myself out there, because you do the work on yourself, you ask the right questions, you get what they think you want to hear, and then when you get into it, your time is wasted. And so fear is a big challenge, because I'm saying I'm now 60. You still alive at 60, brother? You still lying at 60?
Word.
Like, seriously?
Word.
And I'm saying...
Truly, true.
It has nothing to do with education. It has nothing to do with stage of life. It has nothing to do with whether you had a degree. The honesty is almost non-existent. And it is a challenge, because I try to be as honest and as forthright to say what I want, how I want it, what I'm interested in, what are my deal breakers. When I say honest, me honest can't done, right? And so you have these conversations sometimes. Some you can't even go past stage one, because from you see how the back gets stiff when you start to get the conversation, you just move on. But some entertain you by reciprocating with answers, and then when you get into the meat of the matter now, not a Jesus thing or so. Right? So, Rev, I want to know how to spot it. How to spot the liars and the pretenders that because I like how I am in a relationship. I like when I'm in love and I find someone who he and I are compatible, and I love going out and having fun, and especially when there's a spiritual part of it, I am excited. But somewhere in there, you find out there was a lie here, and there was a lie there, and there was a lie here. And sometimes, like the last time, before everything started, I said, I have one request. One. I didn't say I want a car, a house. I don't need any of those. Not that I don't need. Sorry, God. I don't have a need at the moment. I work hard. I am self-fulfilled as a person. I have one request. Do not lie to me. That's all I had. No other request. Maybe that's the problem. Maybe if I had given him some other easier things to do, maybe I wouldn't be having this conversation. But I took the time out to come to this relational conversation, because I'm saying I really would like to be in a relationship. I love my dog, but Happy and I are wonderful together. But sometimes you need some adult conversation, some intimacy, because I like intimacy. So I need to know what to do to shift to get to be realigned. And I know in this church it says you attract unto yourself these things, so I need to know how to change or what I'm doing wrong. Maybe I'm doing something wrong. I know it's long-winded, but that's my reality.
You went all the way there. You went all the way there. You want to touch on anything? No?
Woman to woman.
Woman to woman. I'm not sure what was a joke right there, but I'm sure there was a joke that somebody got. Listen, the thought that you shared, and I commend you on that, right? And that level of vulnerability in saying, this is what I want. But it's very layered, number one, let me say that. And I'm reminded of something that Stacy shared, and I want to drop it back right here. We need to get the support that we need to demonstrate or manifest what it is that we seek. Let me say that. So if it is that we need a coach or somebody to support us to work through some of these issues and to work through some stuff that we are going through, we understand the language of triggers, or partners trigger things within us. It brings things up that we need to heal, we need to release. Why am I seeing this pattern? Why am I seeing this over and over that's coming back in my life? Like I'm meeting the same person, right? With a different name. Why is that happening? Honestly, sometimes we need to have the support of somebody who can help us to get deep in that conversation. There's a certain level of vulnerability, a certain level of nakedness that needs to happen when we're dealing with those triggers. And again, it's very layered what all of what you shared. But we got to work through that.
Mm-hmm. Write this question down to work with. And where in my life am I not being honest? Don't rush through that question. Take some time to reflect upon that and have Spirit to reveal to you where in your life, where in my life am I not being honest with myself?
And anyone in the audience can really switch that word, honest, to whatever it is that keeps showing up, that trigger that keeps showing up, and have that question revealed. So working with that question and have it revealed. But, we really have to get naked, uncomfortable, and reveal ourselves, because it's so layered. There's so much that plays a role in that.
As Sakira said earlier, we have to be true to who we are. We have to be true to ourselves. Life will continue to show us where we are not being true to who we are. So I just leave it there. And like Shakira said, we need to get support to work through this, because we have to realize that a lot of the work that we are called to do is at a soul level. And many times we want to tackle what we've seen out here on a superficial level. But it's some soul work that needs to be done by all of us. And life will continue to show us where and what that work is.
Powerful.
Nadine is probably going to come up, but I don't want to leave this space without saying something here. How we do one area of our life bleeds over into the next, right? So a lot of time people will say, oh, but for example, I'm not pinpointing the audience member, but we might say, oh, I'm honest and I'm this and I'm the right person for a relationship and I'm all this kind of thing. But it's, you know, when we're working with that question, recognize that you might be showing up that way in your relational unfoldment, but the trigger is in another area in your life. So you have to get really naked and recognize that how you are in one area, it's bleeding over into the others, right?
Right, powerful, powerful. But sometimes you see, even it all begins also with the relationship with self and being naked with your own self and being able to strip out the layers. It's really is a lot of work, and it's like a continuation of work, you know?
Correct.
You never stop working. Probably I have to ask myself the question, am I being honest? Probably too, you know? Anybody else? Two more people?
Yeah.
Okay, two more questions.
So Reverend Charles and Reverend Shakira, and Nadine, you hit on it a while ago as well. I think my takeaway from this is commit to your healing. Healing is very, very important. We often we don't give ourselves enough time to heal from a relationship. We jump into the next one. Exactly. And then we think that next one is going to fix the part of us that was broken while we jumped into it. So I think that was very, very important. And you answered the question that I was going to ask when you said to get uncomfortable and let it reveal itself. And it's very, very important that we recognize that, because through all of this we're transforming. We can't go into a next relationship the same way we're coming out of the previous ones. And I have a lot of friends who they can't be alone. So as soon as they break up, tomorrow they're in another relationship and they're having a cycle of the same situation and they have not addressed it. So for me, the takeaway is committing to healing yourself, and then after that, both of you can merge. So thank you for that.
That's it.
Powerful. And transformation and healing can be really, really painful. It can be very, very painful. I see some really dark areas of yourself sometimes. It's like you're going around thinking you're this righteous person, and then you see some sides, and you're like, I'm me still so. It's a lot of, as what Reverend Shakira and Reverend Charles says, nakedness and vulnerability with self. The next question?
Yeah. I tell.
Oh, Reverend Charles, you had something to say? Okay.
Yeah, I share often that transformation and healing don't look good, feel good, or sound good. You have to be willing to feel the discomfort, to go through that process. Yeah.
I want to share one thing before we go to that question, and I know there's time is happening, but I have maybe two things that's coming up. When we talk about healing, I think about that scripture, which I don't remember. I'll paraphrase it. I'll not let you go until you bless me. I'll not let you go until you reveal to me. And being willing to go into that space, like it's almost into the dark night of your soul, because the healing that you seek for yourself, you desire it. You desire it as much as you desire the next breath that you take. Right? And so we romanticize this relationship thing so much that we forget that all relationships is about our healing, revealing our whole self to the world. So I'll say that. Then I'll say one last thing. An experience I had before I met my husband here. So I was in this house right here, fell on my knees, and I was crying. And relationships, everything, not just that area, but the financial area, the relational area, things weren't working, putting the circle into the square, the heartbreak, the bathroom experience, crying, sobbing, all that kind of thing, been through it, done through it, did everything. And I was weeping on the floor, and I'm crying, and I'm looking through the slide door, and I'm crying, and I'm sobbing. And the Spirit said to me, I'm working on him. just as I'm working on you.
Wow.
Get up.
Powerful.
Get up. And when I got that, didn't know who he was. It was pretty close after, I mean, I knew who you were because you were at the church, but I didn't know that it was him all the time. But, but when I got truly that the healing and the work was being done with me, and that I was loved so much so that the person who was coming in is going through that same healing process. I was able to stand and walk forward into that place where I was then open and ready to receive this next level of healing. Because we're not here saying that it's glossy and a bed of rose, but that we've chosen to use our relationship to continue the healing.
Ashe, so powerful.
Ashe.
Yes, thank you for that. So is this the final question or final question? Mm-hmm.
Hi, evening everyone. I've made an observation in the room, and this is not scientifically done, but there is probably 3 times as many women in the room than men. And the women in the room are strong women. Some of these strong women are single. I'm being corrected. Some of these strong women are single. And when you mentioned the point, the main point I'm picking up is, about healing, growing, transforming. Now let's look at the age line. How do we connect this? 25 to 35, 35 to 45, 45 to 55, 55 to 65. Because is it that at each of these different stages, the individual is at a different space, and having that type of conversation we're speaking about requires a different level of maturity to be able to have a certain type of conversation. So that's one point. On the journey of life, how does this awakening take place, that when these two persons are coming together, and Shakira, you mentioned entertainment as part of it, there may be a point in time when that's just what it is. It's all about the entertainment.
That's okay.
So, but the question is, how does it evolve as life evolves? Managing that process, that's one part of it. Separate thing is there any special guidance to offer? Because as these strong women are having lived life and have attained what they have attained, how are they preparing themselves? Are they really preparing themselves? Do they really want a relationship? Do they really want a marriage? It's a question I am suggesting needs to be really considered. Right? Because you may be saying it, but do you really understand?
That's it.
Understand what it means. So at whatever age, I always say, whenever you go into a marriage, no matter what age you go into the marriage at, whether you're going in at 25, you're going in at 35, going in at 45, on that day one, the union is a baby. And if you're not prepared to treat the union as a baby and manage it in terms of the nurturing and the growing that needs to take place, there's going to be a lot of disappointment along the way.
Correct.
So that's it. Is there any guidance how you evolve along the journey of life? And 2, how do the strong women put themselves in a place to really understand what's the environment you're going in to meet the strong man who is prepared to deal with a strong woman?
Amen. So I like that. Let me say a couple of things and I'll let Shakira respond. In the scriptures, there's a scripture that says, count the cost. So the question you were asking deals with that, about going into a marriage or any relationship. Are you willing to count the cost and pay the price? That's number one. Number two, at a soul level, again, we're talking about healing the divine feminine and the divine masculine within us. And that has no age as far as chronological age. It has to do with soul age. How mature you are at a soul level. For those who may or may not know, Shakira and I, there's a 19-year age difference between us. She's 19 years older than me.
Probably.
No, really, I'm 19 years older than her. But so it has nothing to do with chronological age. It has to do with soul age, and maturity. And I'll let Shakira address the strong woman part.
Of course.
That's not me.
Of course. All right. So a couple of things, and I really applaud you and thank you so much. I didn't capture your name for standing up. And
Paul?
You
Paul.
said Paul.
His name is Paul. Yes.
Paul, I acknowledge you. One, for being in the room with all those strong women, and for two, just speaking out. I have a special space in my heart for men, and why they're not in these spaces, and why are they not participating in the kind of like the vulnerability that is needed to have these conversations. I will say this. My grandmother had 9 children, 7 women, 2 men. And they all didn't think they needed a man. Strong Jamaican woman. Did that. That was what was modeled. That for sure came out in our marriage and continues to today, where I still have to work through. And what is that working through? We're talking about relationships and we're talking about healing in the relationships. That calls for creating a safe space for both individuals to exist.
It has to do with the masculine and feminine nature. Heal on that.
Definitely. Masculine and feminine nature. Yeah. And creating a safe space for both to exist, for both to express, for both to come up, and holding that space in that moment is needed and required. I don't agree with the age part, Paul, simply because we have a 19 age difference. We've been married for 12 years, right? So, and when I was on the floor crying in the bathroom and finally got to the marriage part, and my mom said to me, all these years, I don't understand why you were picking up these young boys, Why were you doing that? Because you were never that person anyway. And she saw that in me, but I wasn't willing to go there. I was resisting it and fighting it for many other reasons, right? But creating a safe space would be one of the practical tips. And I encourage the strong woman that's in the room, especially if it is that you have that characteristics, and it's okay to have it, but can you create the space for your partner to be in? And is it a safe space and a healing space? The work of relationships is a sacred job. It's a sacred job. You have to support someone's healing and vice versa.
And at a deeper soul level, this work is about, again, we didn't really touch on it, healing the divine feminine and the divine masculine, and bringing those two aspects of our being into balance. So many times, the strong woman, quote unquote, is strong because that's an indication that a healing of her feminine nature needs to be healed.
Sure. Yes.
Yeah.
And the same with men. The men, especially if you're a macho man, you have to have a healing of the divine feminine within you. Because the masculine and feminine is within all of us, each of us. And so at an individual level, this is taking place. And at a societal level, many of the cultural wars that we see and the attack on sexuality is because in our soul, we need a healing of the masculine and feminine nature. So that's another whole conversation. And many times these issues show up to show us where we need to heal our masculine or feminine nature. But that's another whole conversation.
I tell you it is.
Yeah.
All right, Dr. Shakira and Reverend Shakira and Reverend Charlie, me say on the sell off tonight, Give them a big round of applause, man. I'm here sitting and I'm saying to myself, I don't even start the work on myself. It's just always, there are layers always to be peeled off. There's always healing. Healing is a journey. It never stops. So I just want to thank you again for your wisdom more than anything else. You're such a beautiful couple. I'm looking at you, look nice together, done. Watch them, cutie. Thank you so very much. Thank you so very much. We appreciate this. And when we come to Florida, I come check on them. I usually come when Reverend Tompkins is there, but a long time. I come check on them.
All right.
All right, enough love. Big up. Enough love. Yeah, man, cool. Thank you. One more applause for the two beautiful people. Thank you so very much.
Thank you.
Y'all owe us a drink and a meal because this is our date night.
I was just about to say that because I know it's your date night, so I am specially thanking you both for actually doing this for us. Thank you for saying yes.
Welcome.
Bless you. And just in case you guys didn't know, they actually have written a book together, and I think it's available in our bookstore. What's the name of the book that you guys wrote together again?
Which one we did together?
The one in the black cover. I can't remember. It's the Hip Coaches as Hip Coaches.
Oh, Hip Coaches.
Hip Factor.
The Hip Factor. And it's I think there's written by the both of them as relationship coaches. And of course, I think the Reverend Shakira is a best-selling author. She just debuted her latest. She's a part of the compilation of writers, Elevate and Empower Insights on Personal Growth, Resilience, and Transformation, which is an excellent book. I think you're chapter 12, right, Reverend Shakira?
Yes.
Right, and it's an awesome insight. It's like, reading her personal diary, just getting a little peep in. And it's a really, really good. You should get it. It's on Amazon. And the Loving Me Challenge is also on Amazon. So please support them. Thank you so very much, guys.
Thank you. Thank you for having us.
All right. Good night.
Good night. And Nadine, thank you so much. So we're going to give you a wonderful, I was looking for Corianne. Corianne, come and present this, please. You're the relational leader. Come, please, and present this. Quick. Now, let me tell you something. It's because she don't like the spotlight and doing this kind of thing while she's presenting. Let me tell you. You see, when you have, the whippersnapper behind you, this is her in the nicest and the most beautiful way. So she gets things done. She gets the work done. She has put in so much work in this relational week. So we have to big her up first. I thank you so much. This has been an excellent week. So now you can go ahead, ma'am. I know you don't like the spotlight and present.
Okay, thank you, Nadia, for putting me on the spot. Good evening, everyone. Nadine, thank you so much for saying yes and being here, showing up for us and guiding us through this phenomenal presentation. Your input is very valuable. I can say that we all enjoyed the journey with Nadine. So thank you so much. And just a small token of our appreciation.
Thank you so very much. I appreciate it.
So thank you so much, Nadine. So because we have done so well together, haven't we? Yes. You've enjoyed this evening, haven't you? Yes. Nice, not true. Yes. We can do more of these things, not true. I don't know how to come out, not true. Yes, man, I like it, you know. Because you see, when I put it on, I don't want a soul to say to me, oh, Jesus, we never knew that this was on and we never knew this was happening. And guess what? You see, for all the persons who turned up, that you should have turned up at 6:30 for the speed dating, the single mingle part. I want to turn up late. We're going to try to do this again here. The speed dating part or this, you know, the single mingle. You'd like to try that again? No, sound never really sound like I don't want to drink it. No, the men came. Men came, but here what happened? The men came late. You never see them on them? All right, so here what? If you never see them on them this time, then guess what? You're going to bring and invite some people. So the men who I know came, there's a gentleman over there, and a gentleman at the back, and there's one outside who looked like he found a connection. Right? Open other people in business. But I want you to invite somebody else. Because I think this is worth doing. You know, we're always talking about we can't meet people. So if we find a space where we can meet nice people, and you never know, friendship, whatever comes out of it. You don't have to be a romance. It could be just a good little link up. Not true. I'm not talking about the entertainment part where I talked about earlier. I'm just saying, might be a good link up, a good lime, a good hangout. Yes? Coach? A coach?
Yes.
They are coaches, you know. Oh.
I need somebody here.
Yeah. Don't worry about it. We're going to work on that. No, honestly, that's a suggestion. When I heard that, I thought of it. You're on a mission. So here we're all on a mission and we're all on this journey and we're going to work it together because we're going to grow together. Growing and changing is what we are. And we're all about 365 degrees or 360 degrees of being happy. Yes, Claudette? All right, give me 2 seconds. We're going to get the baskets and we're going to pass the love offering basket around because we have benefited so much from this evening. We're going to share the love, yes, by our monetary gifts. Yes, Claudia, go ahead.
I just want to say that although the emphasis seemed to have been on marriage and that sort of relationship, I kept applying what I was hearing to other types of relationships, like the one between me and a sister. And I found it very useful.
And so with that, I'm going to pass the basket around, but I'm also going to invite those persons who are here with us for the first time or who have not been to church to come out this Sunday. This Sunday is also, we're continuing relationships really, because social is about relationships as well, but it's more relationships on a wider scale. So relational was about, you know, relationship with yourself, relationship with God, and relationship with those intimate relationships. Social is more about your social life. Good? And it is T-shirt Sunday, so you get to dress down or dress up that T-shirt because we know we don't do the dress down for church so well. So like me now, we're going to find a nice skirt or a nice something to go with the T-shirt if we have it. If you don't have your T-shirt, you're just going to find something nice that you're relaxed in. Find something orange. That is the color that we're working with. We know that it is another conference of another color. So if you could mix it up a little bit so it don't really clash with nobody else's color, we're good to go. All right? So Sunday we're coming out. We're passing around the love offering basket. Please give as you have received. Everybody has given. And so we just want to stand so we can just give thanks and we close out and head on out of here. And let's just take that deep breath because we know there's so much work that we still need to do on ourselves so that we can be ready for the relational unfoldment that we know is ours to do. So let's take a deep breath. Take a deep breath with me. 1. And we release. And as we release everything that is unlike the goodness of God. everything that is unlike the relational unfoldment that we wish to see and be made manifest in our lives. We know that every encounter, as Marianne Williamson says, is an encounter with the Holy Spirit. So every relationship that we advance, put ourselves in, that we seek, is something that we must allow to unfold in a way that glorifies God. We thank you, God. And as we leave here, we know that the light of God surrounds us, the love of God enfolds us, the power of God protects us, and the presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. Thank you, God, and so it is. Thank you. Thank you so much for the support. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. And if there's an area that you'd like to donate your time, talent, and gifts, we would welcome it. Speak to me, speak to any of the love ambassadors that were here, speak to the relational team, speak to Auntie Barbara if you would like to donate to the food area. Just speak to anyone. We're happy to receive all that you are willing to give. Have a great night, everybody.